Good morning and welcome back to Bows and Balls. I'm Brent, and today we're going to shoot a video on what I did when I first got ball pythons, because I only got one or two. I didn't have any plans on getting more than one at first. So this is what I did, and honestly it's what I recommend to the people that get snakes from me, is when they first get them to put them in this type of enclosure at first, just till they get them used to them, the different smells, the different location. And once you get them used to this tub or this enclosure, this tub setup, once you get them used to you and all that, and they're eating good and all that, if you want to go and toss them into a glass enclosure or some other enclosure, I've told my people to go ahead and do that. But I feel this is best thing for ball pythons when you first get them. I think a tub setup is the best, just in the beginning, just till you get them used to you. This is my opinion. This is only my opinion, so don't throw rocks at me over my opinion. I'm not going to throw rocks at you over your opinion. That's the problem these days, is everybody hears something that they don't like and they unsubscribe, and then they just want to badmouth you and all that. This is just my opinion. Your opinion might be different than mine, and that's fine, but this is the way I did it in the beginning. And as you can see, all my snakes are awesome. I can't say it enough. I really believe that I have some of the chillest snakes that I've seen. And I know there are other people out there that have chill snakes, but I'm just saying overall, I have 35 and all of them are amazing temperaments. Amazing. So, but anyway, let's get into this. This is for you, Heather, because Heather was saying that she was kind of wondering about bringing her snake home, because it's used to being in a rack system. She happened to buy hers from a big breeder, and she realizes that that snake's more used to being in a rack than it is, going to be in a glass enclosure of any kind. And I do recommend, since it is used to a rack, to go ahead and start out with something like this. But this is only good up to, I would say, probably a 600 gram snake. And you can see it's not very big. I think it's a 12 quart tub, I believe. It is 12.7 quarts. See? Now I drilled 3 holes in the top of the lid. Drill from the inside out. Then you leave all the burrs on the upside. That way, if the snake goes and rubs on the inside of them holes, it doesn't go in and damage their nose. You know what I mean? They don't get cut on it. So drill from the inside out on those. And they're not very big, about the size of a pencil, in between a Sharpie and in the size of a pencil, shaft, I guess. And I only put 3 here because, the humidity's really low here. And you can drill more holes if you want. And don't be afraid, if you drill too many holes, you can always put tape over them. The one thing I'm not showing on this is I duct taped all the way around my tubs to about this far up. I leave that much so that way they could still get a day and light cycle. I did cover the top of this with a towel or something, leaving the holes, the air holes exposed. This is a mat, heat mat. Oh, I meant to measure it. I'll measure it right now. Yes, this one has a dimmer on it. I don't care. I turn it all the way up, and I use a thermostat. I don't necessarily recommend these jump starts. I like the Inkberg Wi-Fi ones, so you can check it while you're away, while you're away from home. You can change the temperatures and all that while you're away from home if need be. I mean, I don't really see that, but I like being able to check my temperatures while I'm away from home. And the Inkbirds are really good. They have an Inkbird Wi-Fi, and I think they're about, last time I knew they were like 45. No, the Wi-Fi ones I think were close to 80 bucks. These jump starts, and the regular Inkbirds that aren't Wi-Fi, I believe, are about 40, 45 bucks. These jump starts are like $35, $40. And so anyway, that's the thermostat. I buy these heat mats off eBay. I buy the big one right from get-go. You can buy the smaller one. They do sell a smaller one because you're only going to use about 4 inches of that heat mat at first. You're only going to have just a little bit, about 4 inches. Whoops. I can't see what I'm shooting. About 4 inches on that heat mat. And like I said, I would duct tape. You can duct tape the whole top over instead of laying a cloth, a cloth over it or whatever. But I do. I like to go about 3/4 to a little over 3/4 away up the tub and duct tape that all in. If you're going to use Repti chip in here, as you can see, I just put paper towel in it because that's what I use. If you're going to put Repti chip in here, I would recommend probably drilling a few more holes to let some humidity out, so you don't get too much moisture in there. Repti chip is a great substrate, but keep in mind, if you decide later on that you don't want to put them on Repti chip and you go to a paper towel, just swapping them from Repti chip to paper towel, you could put them on a food strike. I know. Callie, I started him off on Repti chip, and I decided that it was too much moisture for where I live, and I put him on paper towel, and he went 2 months without eating just from swapping him to paper towel. The humidity was the same, you know what I mean? I kept the humidity up and all that. And that was one of the reasons I did away with Repti chip. It was just too much moisture here. During the summertime, it runs about 65% humidity, to higher. So humidity isn't really an issue here other than wintertime. But anyway, let's get back to this. So there's your heat mat. You're going to have a probe from your thermostat. This is the probe. All right, now what I do is I like to use either the foil tape, and you tape that right down to your heat mat. Tape that right down to your heat mat, and I always put it on the section that I'm going to be using. Once you swap to this bigger tub later on, when they get bigger, you're going to be using more of this mat, and then I normally try to split the probe between the two heaters. Okay, now we got a probe on, a heat mat. Like I said, if it has a dimmer, crank that all the way up. It don't matter because you're regulating it off the thermostat. And in order to run these thermostats, you see the set button right here. You hold that down until it starts blinking. And then once it's blinking, you can set the temperature, and that's at 100, so that's way too high. We're going to start right about 9. I'm going to start at 90 degrees. Whoops. At 90. Oh, I already said it. All right, set for 90. So now it's going to climb up to 90. I like to have my heat set at anywhere from 88 to 90 degrees inside the tub. You're not going to go and worry about what the heat mat is actually at. You're going to want, oops, I'll turn this around because I want my holes in the front, that in the back, and this is what I'm going to have, depending on what size your snake is. You got different size hides, and I make my own sometimes. I have these little takeout, boxes. And you figure out how big your snake is, and you want the hide only slightly larger than your ball python. And you can move up to these, and these will still fit too. And believe it or not, I know, between a water bowl and, because I didn't have this size water bowl, I'd use probably something about this size. But look, it doesn't look like there's much room in there, and believe it or not, that snake is going to feel so secure in that setup, because they like nice confined tight spaces, especially at first when you're first starting to get your ball python used to you and all that. You want them to be in an enclosure that they feel completely secure in. That's going to make every time you go to take it out that much easier on you, because they feel safe in there, so they're not going to have any anxiety before you go to take them out. They're going to be totally chill, you know. And that's it. And that's good up to about a 600-gram snake. That's my opinion. No problem. Can put a 600-gram snake and keep it in here, no problem. I don't have... Here's the next size up that I go, and this is why I like jumping and starting right out with the big mat, because this is the next size up that I go. From that 12 quart, I go to a 32. Now in this tub, it's going to be the same thing. The only difference is, while they're small, I would have two hides in here. I would have I'd have a hide on the cold end, and I'd have a hide on the warm end. And this time you are going to give them a little more of a heat. You know, you're going to give them a little more than 4 inches. You're going to give them probably 5 to 6 inches on the heat mat now with this size tub. And you'll have a full-size water bowl, and that's the way I'd have it set up. Or you could have ReptiChip. Now I would not use this tub, but this size tub works awesome. I prefer, on this size tub, the tubs that have the 2 latches here on both sides, and on the end, I think the Rubbermaid. Walmart sells all these tubs. And it's a 32 quart, but it has latches on both ends here, and it has 2 on either side here. Now, those are a little overkill, because this top is really flimsy, and on that other lid that has the 4 latches, I still only use the 2 end ones, and I took these 2 other latches right off. It's just, this is so flimsy that you take a chance that your snake could push this top up. Unless you want to go and you know, you could drill holes on both sides here and put zip ties in to use this tub, which would work fine. But you're gonna have to cut those ties every time. Well, at least one. You could probably pop this and get it to where you could spin one side up and only have to cut that one zip tie there. But in the beginning, until you're going to have to get your temperatures dialed in, because like I said, just because you have this mat set to 90 degrees, the inside of the bottom of this tub is not going to be 90 degrees. You are going to have to raise that mat up high enough to where you get 88 to 90 degrees on your hot spot in here. And that's why I say heat guns are a must to be able to take your temperature. To take temperatures off that, to make sure that you have the right heat, because you don't want it too high and you don't want it too low. You want them to be able to digest the food once they've eaten, and they're really going to need that hot spot. And also with this tub, I would do the same thing. I would duct tape all the way around this, all the way around up to about 3/4 of it, 3/4 up the front of it, just so that way they still get a day and night cycle. You know, they can still see out, and you can still be able to see them moving around a little bit in there. But I would leave only a small window, because you still want them to feel secure. You need to drill, holes in the top of your lid, and do not push too hard. If you drill and push too hard on drilling this plastic, you'll crack it. And trust me, I did it a couple times before I realized, oh, you got to take your time when you drill these holes, because you'll crack the plastic and then the junk. You got to start all over again with a new tub. But that's it. That's my setup. Get yourself an Inkbird. Like I said, I don't really recommend these jump starts. I know lots of people use them, but I also heard lots of people have had issues with them. So I don't really necessarily recommend these jump starts. I recommend, if you're gonna use, if you're gonna go this style, go with the Inkbird. Or I love these Herbistats, because this is the one this is my spare, my backup. I got my other 6 over there. But I like these Herbistats, but you don't need a Herbistat 6. They have Herbistat 1s, Herbistat 2s, depending on how many snakes you have. And but if you only got 1 or 2 snakes, the Inkbirds work great. And they're cheap, and they work good. You can, I like mine. I've got an Inkbird on my snake incubator, and that's why I didn't take it out. I will show you. I do have an Inkbird. It's right there. Oh, right there. But it's wired up to my incubator. That's why I use the cheap jump start for this. But 2 hides, 1 on the hot spot, 1 on the cold side. In this size tub, in the small tub, they just need that one hide on the warm spot side. And by duct taping that up, you'll find that they'll come out and they'll hang out on the cold spot, on the cold side, without having a hide in this tub, because it's where you'll have it duct taped up. They'll feel more than secure. You can put this heat mat right on your dresser drawer, your dresser, or anything wood. It's not going to burn. It's not going to start a fire. This won't get warm enough to burn your house down, especially if you got it on a thermostat. You have to have a thermostat. You have to have a thermostat to regulate that mat. Do not rely, if it has a dimmer, do not rely on this cheesy little dimmer to protect your snake. Just don't do it. Get yourself a thermostat. Put your probe on. Have your probe on your thermostat. Your heat mat. This is the heat mat cord. Plugs right into this. And then this is the other cord that plugs into your wall. And it's that simple. Like I said, I've got it set at 90 just so I can go and set this up at least a week ahead of time before you're getting a snake. It will take you close to a week to get this dialed in. I mean, and it doesn't have to be perfect. In between 88 and 90 degrees is fine. I wouldn't let it go up much more than 91 degrees. If you're getting a reading of 91 degrees inside your tub, I would drop it down a degree. Yes, like I said, I go with a big mat. Then you're not buying a bunch of different mats. You've got a mat that you can use throughout your whole ball python's life. All the stuff I got off eBay, right down to all my hides and all that I got right off eBay. So right down to this heat gun. I think that's about it. But duct tape, like I said, drill a few holes in the top. If you're going to go with ReptiChip, you might want to do a couple, across the front here too, at the top, right here or something. Yeah, a water bowl, a hide. I threw this up on my dresser. I threw a towel over the top, about this far, because the holes are right here. I stretched the towel from there back over the top just to keep them so where they felt secure. I had it out. I had all my snakes out in the living room. you know, and they didn't care about me walking by or anything, because they felt they were pretty much closed off. They would have had to come out and look out the window to actually really, you know, see us moving around and stuff. So, but this is a nice, easy, nice setup. This is just how I started out when I had just a few snakes. A 12 and a half quart tub, a couple holes drilled in it, some repti chip, hide, and water bowl. You know, duct taped all the way around it so they felt secure. And heat mat, thermostat, temp gun. I mean, that's really all there is to getting into the start of ball pythons. And you could do the same thing with boa constrictors too. Obviously, you're going to have to go a lot bigger than this 32-quart tub when they get, you know, as they grow. But this is this setup would still work for a growing up boa constrictor. You know, it's not just for ball pythons, but you're going to need a lot bigger tub than this. And this will basically, a 32-quart tub you could raise a snake up its whole life once they're an adult in a 32-quart tub. I know there's going to be people out there bashing me because saying that, you know, they need more room than that. And some will do great in a bigger tub than that. And some snakes, if you take it out of that size tub and you try to move it up, they'll go off food, or you're going to have problems with humidity, or the ambient temperature is going to be off. I mean, if you want to keep them perfect, you know, not get a few things right, you want to try to get everything right. And it is a lot easier to dial everything in a tub setup. That's all, you know, and that's my opinion. You know, you can do what you want. I've always said that. You know, your snakes are your snakes. This is just what I did with mine, and I continue to do with mine. I'm still going to stick, once my boas get up to where I have to move them up, I'm still going to stick to a tub. I really am. You know, and but that's my opinion, and that's what I'm going to do with mine. You do what you want with yours. You know, this is just an easy setup that I know that your ball pythons will feel safe in when you first get them to your house. And like I said, later on, once you're used to them and they're used to you, you can go ahead and move them into whatever you want. You can move them into whatever you want right from the get-go if you want. I'm just trying to limit some of the issues you're going to run into when you first get your snakes. I remember I was so worried that I was going to do something wrong, and this was so simple that I almost felt like I had been doing it forever, because it took all the headache out of it. All my snakes ate. I didn't have any snakes that went off food. Like I said, they all ate within 3 days of being here, and that was with me handling them. And I do believe that it's because of the way I housed them in the beginning. You know, and this is my opinion. I don't want people to throw rocks at me. I'm hoping not to lose subs over it. You know, I mean, everybody has their own way of doing things, and it doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's wrong. As long as somebody's not like mistreating their animals, I'm gonna take it as that's their opinion, and I'm still gonna do what I'm gonna do with mine. But I still like watching other people's, because I do pick up stuff still today. I pick up a few things here and there from watching other people's stuff and watching other people's snakes. You know, I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. I'm just saying that this is a really good way of doing it, you know, and it's how I did it. And like I said, I'm going to continue to do it this way. You know, for me, it's so simple. It makes me feel like an expert because I don't have food strikes. Like you said, if they don't eat this week, they'll eat next week. That's not a food strike. You know, when they go months without eating, that's a food strike. I don't get those. You know, and you see all my snakes' temperament. They're perfectly chill, and I would say content, because if they weren't happy, they would show me anytime that I open up an enclosure or anything like that. This girl is deep in blue. You see those blue eyes? Let's see. I mean, deep in blue. Maybe you can see them. Here, girl. Let me see. There you go. See? And look at her temperament. You know? Deep in blue. Moving around, but not stressed in any way. No hide. No, she's just got a water bowl and a big old tub. And look at the temperament on her. You know, the proof's in the pudding for me. You know, and I know there's plenty of people out there that can show me that their snakes that are in enclosures are perfectly happy too. I'm just saying this is what works for me. That's what works for you, and we're all going to keep doing what we're doing until there's an issue. That's when we'll all. That's when we'll all maybe critique setups a little bit. But I have never had scale rot. I've never had mites. I have never had any health issues with my snakes. All of my boa constrictors have gone to the vets and had health certificate. I got health certificates for all my boa constrictors, especially my wild caught. Once I found out she was wild caught, I took her right to the vets because I want to make sure she didn't have any parasites, internal parasites or any parasites whatsoever. And she was mint. He couldn't even believe how chill she was. Actually, the vet was very impressed. Because even though he's a snake vet, I don't think he really deals with many snakes around here. But anyway, but this is my cheap, easy setup. And cheap and easy also is what I consider one of the best setups. This is the best setup, I think, for a ball python when you first get your snake. Especially if you're getting from a big breeder. And I'll say it now. If you're getting your snake from a big breeder, I would definitely probably give it a week. Get it fed. Make sure it eats before you start really handling it. You know, I assume all snakes, you know, everybody's like me and hands-on all the time. I do realize now that big breeders don't have the time to handle the snakes like I do. If you get a snake from me, I'm going to tell you, start handling it right from get-go. All 5 of mine took right to their other new owners, and one of them they actually put an Exoterra from get-go, and it did amazing, and it's still doing amazing in the Exoterra. Granted, I think it's because I handled it all the time, and I got it feeling safe and secure in the very beginning, you know. But a big breeder doesn't have time to handle it and all that. So if you're getting from a big breeder, they're going to be in a tub setup. And if you take that snake right from a tub setup and throw it right into a glass enclosure or a PVC enclosure, I think you're going to end up having some stress issues. You're going to probably have some eating issues. Their first few sheds are probably going to be horrible because they're stressed, you know. And so I recommend, honestly, if you're going to get your snake ball python from a big breeder, this is definitely the way to go, is a tub setup in the beginning to get your snake used to you. It's eating good. It's got good temperament. It doesn't mind being handled. You know, it's not runny, just always constantly trying to get away from you when you take it out. It's actually sitting and chilling and relaxing. Then I would think about moving it to another enclosure, you know, a different setup from a tub, if that's what you want to do. Because I'm not saying that glass enclosures, PVC enclosures are absolutely not good. I'm just saying that in the beginning, I think it's best for a tub. And for me, a tub is best here anyway because of the temperatures. It's so cold in the wintertime that I would have a hard time keeping the ambient temperature and the humidity right during the wintertime in that enclosure. But these tubs and these racks, They hold the heat awesome. They hold the ambient temperature awesome. The everything seems to be spot on in my rack system, and that's why I do it. But anyway, there's your setup. My cheap, easy setup. And I hope this helps somebody. Like I said, I hope I don't lose any subs over doing this. I hate doing these tub setups because there's always somebody out there that thinks that I'm just saying that tubs and racks are the way to go. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I think that in the beginning they're a better setup as far as making your snakes feel more comfortable. That's all it is. And that's all we want. We want our snakes to be happy, comfortable, and all that. And that's what I'm trying to do by keeping them the way I keep them. And it makes it easier for me, for heat-wise. I wouldn't even want to leave my house if I thought that I would have to be in here all the time checking stuff. I've got stuff dialed into where I can leave my house for the whole day and have no worries, and I know if I had other enclosures here, because of the way the weather is here, and it's cold and it's dry in the wintertime, I'd have a hard time in any other setup other than what I'm running with right now. So anyway, been a long enough video over nothing other than a tub setup. But I hope this helps. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to ask. I have no problem helping if I can. I really am here only to help. I'm not here to sell snakes or anything like that. Obviously, I got snakes for sale, but that's not what I'm doing here. This is just to try to help out somebody else have a good experience with their new snakes. That's all. And get some people to realize that they are some of the coolest animals. It is awesome to have snakes. Whether it was one or two, it's awesome to own a snake. It really is. You get so much more than just like I do with my dog. I love my dog, and I would do anything for my dog. But there's just something about having a snake, and when they come to you and they just relax on you and they're just hanging out, when we're all fucking told that, oh, they hate us and they don't want nothing to do with us and they're vicious and all that, and you get them and they just chill out and you swear they're sleeping in your arms and you're just sitting there watching a movie. There's nothing like it. There really isn't, Do some research. If you're even remotely thinking about getting a snake, do some research, and I guarantee you'll find somebody out there that will hit on the points that you want to know. The biggest thing is everybody always wants to know whether they're going to bite us or not, and there's always that chance. It's an animal. There's a chance that it could bite you. I've only been bit like 2 or 3 times, and they were babies, that I got shipped to me from big breeders, and it was so minor, and they were still 300-400 grams, 250, 300 grams, so they weren't like babies. But they were small, and it didn't hurt. It doesn't hurt if they bite you. And there is a good chance, there's more chance that they won't bite you than there's going to be chance that they are going to bite you. So put it that way. But anyway, I hope this helps. If anybody's got any questions, hit me up. All right. Remember, if you can't be good at it. Cheers.